Snow fell heavily across the streets of Chicago the night Eleanor Whitmore disappeared. The city was buried in white. Traffic lights glowed faintly through the storm while icy wind screamed between skyscrapers. In the wealthy suburb of Lake Forest, police cars lined the circular driveway of the Whitmore estate, their red and blue lights flashing against the snow-covered mansion. Inside the house, panic spread like wildfire. She wouldn't just leave. Check her phone again. What do you mean nobody saw her? The Whitmores were one of the richest families in Illinois. Eleanor Whitmore, the 78-year-old matriarch, had built a billion-dollar luxury furniture empire with her late husband decades earlier. Now she was gone. Vanished. No note. No goodbye. No trace. And the timing could not have been worse. Because the entire family had gathered that weekend for one reason. The inheritance announcement. For years rumors had circulated about Eleanor's wealth. Multiple mansions. Investment portfolios. Art collections. Hidden accounts. Everyone knew her estate was worth hundreds of millions. And now the woman herself had disappeared hours before revealing who would control everything. By midnight, the mansion had become a battlefield. Accusations flew across the marble halls. She probably ran off because of stress. She's old, not crazy. What if someone here did something to her? Every face in the room carried suspicion, especially among Eleanor's children. There was Gregory Whitmore, the oldest son, a cold corporate executive obsessed with control. Vanessa Whitmore, the glamorous socialite daughter whose lifestyle burned through money faster than water. And Daniel Whitmore, the youngest son, drowning in gambling debt nobody fully knew about. Then there was Olivia. Quiet Olivia Brooks, Eleanor's granddaughter. The forgotten one. While the others wore luxury suits and diamonds, Olivia stood quietly near the staircase in a simple coat, unnoticed like always. She had grown up differently from the rest of the family. After her parents died in a car accident when she was 14, Eleanor raised her personally. Not with luxury, but with discipline. Olivia worked regular jobs, drove used cars, lived modestly. Meanwhile, the rest of the Whitmores treated wealth like oxygen. But despite Eleanor raising her, Olivia was still treated as an outsider, especially by Gregory. She's not a real Whitmore, he once said during an argument years earlier. Olivia never forgot it. As police searched the mansion, Gregory paced angrily through the study. This is ridiculous, he snapped. We need access to the estate documents immediately. Detective Harris stared at him carefully. Your mother is missing. And I understand that, Gregory replied quickly, but the company board will panic if leadership isn't clear. Even now, money came first. Olivia watched silently from across the room. She noticed something strange. Nobody seemed genuinely worried about Eleanor, only about what Eleanor owned. Hours passed. Still no sign of her. By morning, news stations surrounded the estate. Billionaire heiress missing. Whitmore family mystery. Questions surround fortune. The media frenzy exploded nationwide. And inside the mansion, greed began exposing everyone. Vanessa secretly searched Eleanor's bedroom for financial records. Daniel made private calls begging creditors for more time. Gregory contacted attorneys before police had even finished the investigation. But Olivia couldn't shake the feeling that something was wrong. Not criminal wrong. Intentional wrong. That evening she entered Eleanor's private library alone. The room smelled like old paper and cedarwood. Snow tapped softly against the tall windows while the fireplace crackled nearby. Then Olivia noticed something unusual. One of the chess pieces on Eleanor's antique chessboard was turned backward. Eleanor loved puzzles. As a child, she always hid messages inside games. Olivia slowly approached the board. Underneath the queen piece was a folded note. Her heartbeat quickened. The note contained only 6 words. Greed reveals people. Follow the truth. Below, it was an address in Milwaukee. Olivia stared at the paper in shock. The next morning, without telling anyone, she drove through the snowstorm toward Milwaukee. The address led to a small lakeside cabin hidden deep among pine trees. Smoke rose from the chimney. Olivia stepped out slowly, heart pounding. Then the front door opened, and there stood Eleanor Whitmore, alive. Olivia gasped. Grandma. Eleanor smiled faintly. You came. Olivia rushed forward in disbelief. Everyone thinks you're missing. Police are searching everywhere. Eleanor turned calmly toward the frozen lake. I know. What is this? The old woman sighed heavily. A test. Olivia stared at her. Eleanor slowly sat near the fireplace inside the cabin. For 40 years I built this family's fortune, she said quietly. And for 40 years I watched money poison everyone around me. Olivia sat silently listening. They stopped seeing me as a person years ago, Eleanor continued. To them, I became a vault with a heartbeat. The words hit hard. Why disappear? Because I needed to know who still loved me, and who only loved what I owned. Olivia lowered her eyes. Deep down, she already knew the answer. Eleanor handed her a thick folder. Inside were surveillance reports, financial investigations, and private records. Olivia's face slowly changed as she read. Gregory had secretly attempted to transfer company shares before Eleanor's disappearance. Vanessa had forged signatures trying to access trust funds. Daniel had borrowed millions against future inheritance projections. Every single one of them had already begun tearing apart the estate before Eleanor was even declared dead. Tears filled Olivia's eyes. They've become monsters. No, Eleanor said softly. Money simply revealed what was already there. Back at the mansion, chaos worsened daily. Gregory tried taking temporary control of the company. Vanessa leaked stories to tabloids for sympathy. Daniel secretly sold family artwork. The Whitmores were collapsing publicly. Then came the bombshell. 3 days later, Eleanor Whitmore walked into her own mansion alive. The reaction was explosive. Vanessa nearly fainted. Daniel turned pale. Gregory looked genuinely terrified. Police were furious. Reporters swarmed outside. Lawyers immediately gathered. But Eleanor ignored everyone. Sit down, she said coldly. The authority in her voice silenced the entire room instantly. For the next 2 hours, Eleanor exposed everything. The forged signatures, the hidden debts, the theft, the manipulation. One by one, each family member crumbled under the weight of truth. Gregory exploded first. You set us up. No, Eleanor replied sharply. You exposed yourselves. Vanessa burst into tears. Daniel couldn't even make eye contact. Then Eleanor revealed the final blow. All inheritance distributions have changed. The room froze. Gregory stood immediately. What? Eleanor turned toward Olivia. My fortune, controlling company shares, and private assets will go primarily to Olivia Brooks. Silence. Pure silence. Gregory looked like he might collapse. Vanessa's mouth fell open. Daniel whispered, You can't be serious. Eleanor's eyes hardened. Olivia was the only person who searched for me because she cared whether I was alive. Nobody spoke. Because it was true. While they fought over wealth, Olivia searched for Eleanor. The legal battle afterward became vicious. Gregory contested the will publicly. News outlets turned the Whitmores into a national spectacle. Court documents leaked online. Family secrets exploded across television. The mighty Whitmore image shattered completely. And through it all, Olivia remained quiet. She never celebrated publicly. Never mocked them. Never acted superior. Months later, the courts upheld Eleanor's decisions. Gregory lost executive control of the company. Vanessa filed for bankruptcy. Daniel entered rehab after his gambling addiction spiraled completely out of control. Meanwhile, Olivia inherited leadership of Whitmore Living, the furniture empire. The board expected her to fail. She didn't. Unlike Gregory, she actually listened to employees. Unlike Vanessa, she wasn't addicted to appearances. Unlike Daniel, she respected responsibility. Within 3 years, the company became more profitable than ever. But success didn't heal the family overnight. The bitterness remained. Especially Gregory's. One winter evening, he showed up unexpectedly at Olivia's office in downtown Chicago. He looked older now. Broken somehow. The arrogance was gone. I came to apologize, he said quietly. Olivia looked genuinely surprised. For what? Gregory laughed bitterly. Where should I start? For several seconds neither spoke. Then Gregory looked down. When your parents died, Mom loved you differently after that. I hated you for it. Olivia stayed silent. I convinced myself you stole my place in the family. His voice cracked slightly. But the truth is, you were the only one who actually loved her. Olivia felt tears sting her eyes. Years of resentment suddenly felt heavy. Gregory looked around the office quietly. You know what the worst part is? What? We had everything. Mansions, cars, power, and somehow we still became miserable. Olivia nodded slowly. Because greed is never satisfied. Gregory smiled sadly. That sounds exactly like Grandma. A few months later, Eleanor passed away peacefully in her sleep at the age of 80. This time the family gathered again at the mansion. But everything felt different now. Quieter, softer, more human. There were no screaming arguments, no inheritance fights, no lawyers hovering nearby, just memories. At the funeral reception, snow fell gently outside while old jazz music played softly through the mansion speakers. Olivia stood near the fireplace looking at a portrait of Eleanor when Daniel approached her carefully. I've been sober 8 months, he said nervously. Olivia smiled warmly. That's amazing. Vanessa later joined them too. For the first time in years, the three sat together peacefully. Not as rivals, not as greedy heirs, but as broken people trying to rebuild what greed nearly destroyed. Late that night, after everyone left, Olivia walked alone through Eleanor's private library. The old chessboard still sat near the fireplace. The queen piece remained slightly turned backward. Olivia smiled faintly and whispered, You won, Grandma. Outside, snow continued falling quietly over Chicago. And somewhere in the silence of that winter night, the Whitmore family finally learned a painful truth. Greed does not destroy families all at once. It destroys them piece by piece, until someone finally chooses love over inheritance.